You're listening to World Oil's Deep Dive, where you'll get to know the authors of technical articles in World Oil magazine and learn more about their company's technology and how it's shaping our industry. Now, here's your host, Jim Watkins.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we're here with Saurabh Kapoor. Saurabh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jim.
And Saurabh, you're the product champion for well construction fluids, right?
Right.
Okay, and so we're here today to talk about EcoShield.
That's correct.
Yeah, so is that technically a fluid? Does cementing fall under fluids or cementing replacements?
Definitely. So in well construction fluids, we have the drilling fluid side and then the cementing side.
Okay.
So definitely cement is part of the fluid family.
Oh, right. And what we're talking about today is not cement, to be clear for everybody. This is not cement, okay? This is replacing cement. But tell everybody in the audience and myself as well, because I need a refresher on this. What is the problem? Why would you want to replace cement? What is the problem with cement?
So let's look at cement from the perspective of environmental carbon footprint.
Right.
So when you're manufacturing cement, it's a very energy dependent process.
Right.
So a ton of cement manufacture results in a ton of CO2 emitted to the atmosphere.
Okay.
So when we are talking about balanced planet, energy transition, we are looking at some high emitters there and finding some low carbon alternatives. Then cement becomes a obvious choice to look for as a replacement.
Yeah, it's interesting because even outside of our industry, you hear talk about how much CO2 emissions are created when making cement.
Right.
But I don't understand that process at all. So I'll just take your word for it that there's a lot there because it's a whole process, to get it together. And so here at SLB then, you guys have been working because of course we use a lot of cement in the well construction business. You've been looking for an alternative that isn't so carbon intensive, right?
That's correct. So globally in 2022, we roughly estimate there were around 5 million ton of cement produced and used only for oil and gas, which was millions of car equivalent on road.
Right, yeah.
So imagine if you can shift the industry from using cement to something which is alternative and low carbon, it's going to create a win-win situation for both SLB and our customers in the journey towards net zero. What we are looking at with EcoShield are alternative materials, whether they are naturally occurring or as a byproduct or recovered product of another industrial process. So we can use them and make them set as cement, but not cement.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't understand that. So you can use old tires, recycled plastic? I mean, what can you put into this?
So how we define EcoShield in particular, if you consider the name of the technology itself, it's a geopolymer cement-free system. So geopolymer is actually the technical term, which is creating the alternative. Geopolymerization is a process where you use a raw material, something which has aluminosilicate in it. You activate that in a presence of alkali medium, and then it sets to form 3D structures. These are covalent bonds, going more into the technical details. And they are strong or even stronger than ionic bond in the cement chemistry.
So it's stronger than...
It's stronger than ionic bonds in the cement chemistry today.
Wow. Yeah. And this is actually a piece, right? This is actually EcoShield.
Yeah. This is a cube of EcoShield, and as you could see, it practically looks and feels like cement. But
feels a little bit lighter than cement, huh?
You could vary it in the density range from the lowest of like 11 ppg to highest of 16 plus ppg. So there's a range possible like you would have in a similar cementing world,
And this holds up as well as cement in well construction, abandonment, any kind of zonal isolation things you're working on?
Right. So I think you brought a very important point here. When we were thinking of a product like EcoShield, we always wanted to consider and compare the performance.
Right.
So how to define performance, right? Performance is first fluid properties when you are pumping the system in field. Like these are defined typically by rheologies, fluid loss, and then thickening time, which is like the safety factor of how you will pump it downhole, and it should not set prematurely, right?
Right.
So those properties are customizable, comparable. Then when the cement sets, we think of compressive strength. And similarly for EcoShield, we also do the compressive strength analysis, where the set properties are similar or even better than conventional cement systems.
Wow. And so you don't need to, so this you can use just like you would, you don't need to replace any equipment, it's the same equipment you can use to put it in place, and you can have it set customizably, right? So you can say, oh, let's make the mix so that it sets more quickly or more slowly than we need.
So to answer to the first part, when we were thinking of our customer experience, we wanted to keep that experience at par with what they are already doing today, or even better, because it's already a mindset change to replace cement, which has existed in the industry for over 100 years, right? So we didn't want to, load it up with so many other changes. Now, talking about the second part, like once you have executed the job using the same workflows, we also wanted for them to be able to evaluate the job using some standard wireline logging tools as an example. So we proved both of these concepts in our field trials and have done over 30 jobs by now, right?
30?
Yeah.
Wow. And this is with Pioneer, right?
It's with mix of customers, Pioneer included.
All right, all right. And so everybody's been fully satisfied then with the performance of it. But here's an interesting thing about my background. When I was in Europe, I was also dealt with a magazine, a cement magazine, back in the day. And there, I went to some testing facilities where they do, all those crushing things, and where they like put a block and they leave it outside for 30 years or something to see how it deteriorates. So how can you test that? I mean, because this is new technology. It's just in the well. The immediate results when they test it, that's good. But how can you be sure that's going to be good 30 years from now?
So to answer your question, the research started in early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
The first patent, which is with SLB today, is from that era. So all this time we took to make it better, make it scalable for field, and we worked on some chemistries to get the elements or the constituents right. In addition to that, we are also doing long-term studies in an aggressive environment to basically simulate something in lab which is going to be representative of few years in a well. So these are experimental lab data. When we do the field study, the logs are our first pass. And then when we drill out the shoes, the tagging of bits, the weight on bit is our second pass. If everything is actually in sync with what our customers would witness in a usual cementing operation, we are already, ticking the box, right?
Exactly. Now, we got to talk about it. It's the last thing, probably the most sensitive thing here. There's new technology, right? So you don't need any new equipment. It's just as good as cement, if not better, because you can customize it for what you want. That sounds expensive. Does it cost more?
So, to be honest, we are looking at value-based pricing. And when we will deliver the value to our customer, that's where the pricing would have a cap on, right? Value could come from many angles. If a customer wants to cut down on their scope 3 emissions, as an example, it's a direct value. With industry going in the direction of carbon tax or carbon credits, that's a dollar value already. And then when I spoke about performance, if I'm giving a better performance, a better durability over the lifetime, I'm saving customers the cost of doing interventions and remedial operations, right? So there could be a variety of value statements when our customers, or we're going to talk to our customers, and that's where we are today launching it as a family of offerings. It's not going to be just one EcoShield. Eventually you'll see multiple versions of customized offerings to the customers for their specific needs, on top of sustainability.
Like a separate EcoShield for well construction, another one for zonal isolation, another one for abandonment, that type of thing, or?
It could be application based, or it could be need based. For example, if a customer needs it for a more corrosive environment type of situation, whether the formations are more corrosive or they want to inject some corrosive fluids, we could tailor it. Because remember I mentioned the bonds are stronger.
Right, yeah.
So they are going to be more durable as well.
Oh, wow. So you can put something that's more corrosive that concrete or cement couldn't handle, but this can.
Yes.
Wow.
So
wow,
that's
wow.
the customization
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. And that's a huge value add, right? Because then that can have knock-on effects in different parts of dealing with the life of the well.
Right.
So that's interesting. So there's a lot. I mean, you've done all the lab studies. You've got 30 jobs in the ground with different customers and stuff. So how long do you guys keep following that up and testing it before you're like, okay, this is good. We don't have to. We can just do it like we do, right?
And it's an interesting question. If you look at cementing today, conventional cement, we have been there in the industry for over 100 years, right? And we are still evolving. So when somebody asks me this question, I would say it's a start of an interesting journey. It's just a tip of iceberg what we have done so far. There's a lot more to be done. A lot more, parameters to be checked, applications to be, developed, and that's what we are working on in-house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting, and it kind of fits with the whole new SLB theme, and the lower emissions. I mean, it's really a fantastic product, and one of the things that I enjoy about this business is that it really is amazing how we can find ways, technologies, advances to save on emissions, to lower costs, to do that even in the most mundane areas. Nobody thinks cement's not sexy. Nobody talks about that. But now, now we got sexy cement, right?
And to be honest, I would like to give credit to the people, the brains.
That's just you, right? You did it all by yourself?
Yeah. No, I had a team of people working in different functions, lab researchers, operations, sales, who came together with one goal of solving a problem and coming up with an innovative solution. And that's what SLB is known for, bright people and technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Saurabh, thanks so much for being on the show. And you'll have to come back and tell us, once we get some more advanced data and things like that and other applications, we'll have you back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Take a look at today's show notes for links we mentioned in the podcast. We enjoy your feedback, so if you have any questions or comments, email them to deepdive@worldoil.com. Check out worldoil.com for the best oil and gas industry technical articles and news. And join us next time for another Deep Dive with World Oil.